Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to repair, fix, replace a bladder on your Superwing. Alright, so to do this repair, I'm using soapy water here. I need two flying lines, two pieces of line that are at least half of the leading edge of your wing. This is the repair kit that comes with the wing, sorry. And I like to use a little Sharpie to make some marks as I work. So first thing you're gonna want to do is pump up your wing so you can locate where it's leaking from. To make the difference between if it's coming from your strut or your leading edge, you're gonna have to close those little clips here to isolate the strut from the leading edge, and you see which one deflates. All right, so I've left it stand for a little while, and now I can see my leading edge deflated, my strut still totally inflated. So I know I have to look for a hole in my leading edge. So to find the leak now, I'm gonna pump up my leading edge again, put enough pressure like the one I would have if I'm actually riding. So I go to 8 PSI, close it, so I don't have any leak coming out of here. And now I'm gonna use the soapy water to try to find bubbles. The bubble is gonna show where it's leaking. I had a repair around here, so I'm guessing this is leaking from somewhere around here. So I'm just gonna spray, look for bubbles. And I see a big bubbling location right here. So I know my leak is somewhere around here inside, which means it's kind of far to access from one side or the other, so I'm gonna have to take the leading edge out. So to do so, I'm gonna have to deflate the whole wing again, and then I'll access the bladder through these. So I open the clips here, make sure everything deflates, and just deflate like you would anytime. So now I come to the wingtip, and I open this pocket here, open the Velcro, and the bladder is right here. So see there's a reinforcement here, and I like to use my Sharpie here and put a mark, and just gotta remember that I'm gonna face it towards the center of the wing. So then when I reinsert, I try to keep that rule. This follows that seam, and it's towards the center of the wing. Now I use the rope to connect it, and this will allow me, when I pull, be able to have that feeding through the whole strut. Then I'm gonna do it on the other wingtip. So now I need to disconnect the hoses from the leading edge bladder. To do that, you simply pull here, first the ring, and then you put on the hose. You got it out. Then you want to push both this one and this one, you're gonna push them in. I like to use like some kind of like a soft, stiff surface, because otherwise it's kind of hard on my nails and fingers. So I just use that piece of plastic here and I use it to push the valve down like that. All right, then I'm gonna take this ring off the valve by just simply unscrewing it, and put that aside, don't lose it. And I push the valve in, same way as I did with the other one. And then you do the same here, push that one in, take the hose off. All right, now you just come here and you open the zipper. It's hiding under that little neoprene cover. Open all the way. And you're simply gonna grab the bladder inside and pull one side first from the center here. And this is the side that had the leak, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it back on top to locate where the leak is potentially gonna be, but I know it's around here, just because it's where I found my leak earlier. So I just put a little cross here, just so I remember when the bladder's out that it's somewhere here I gotta look for the leak. Then I'm gonna put on the other side, help it a little bit started by pushing that thing through. Then I pull everything. And I got my two lines sticking out. Leave them out, make sure you don't pull too much so they're still sticking out of your wingtips over there. And now we're gonna test this quickly. Now I'm gonna take these hoses off so I can use those clamps to close my leading edge valve so I can pump up and have the bladder airtight. Put that the ring first and then the tube. And I just bring them here on top. Doesn't have to be really airtight. The best way to do it, you want to make it wet. So I usually just spit on it, just like that. And it goes in nicely. Don't have to go all the way. Now you just lock that. Now I can just pump up my leading edge bladder and look for the leak that's going to be in that zone like we look earlier. So you don't want to pump it up too hard because you don't want to have any herniation as you look for the hole. I usually look visually for a hole, and then with your fingers you can hopefully find it. So I remember that my leak was on this side here, so I'm going to look for something here, and I found it right here. So grab my pen again. I'm going to circle it. Right, and I'm going to verify there's no other ones anywhere. That bladder is quite salty, so just gonna remove all the salt and make it clean. So now I'm just gonna deflate the bladder and put that patch on. You grab that patch that was in your little repair kit. Try to not get it dirty, so you just grab one corner only, and then keep the bladder as flat as possible. It's really important that it's flat, and then you just go put it on top. Make sure you got no folds. I got it pretty good here. Make sure you press really hard, especially on the edge. You really don't want any little folds because air will go through otherwise. I like to repump the bladder one more time before I reinsert it to make sure I got that patch on correctly. Again, I'm not gonna put much pressure, just enough to get air in it so I can test if it's leaking or not. All right, so I repumped it up now. I'm coming on my patch here and I can feel there's no air leaking out of it. If you really want to make sure, you can also put it in your bathtub or something, but I'm pretty confident right now, so I'm gonna reinsert it. Remember how I had my arrow here? Make sure it's facing like that. I put my leading edge as flat as possible the whole way with the seam facing the proper way. And then I make sure my leading edge is perfectly prepared to go in. So I'm gonna fold it over perfectly. Get a little more air out. Now I pick the right rope. This one is coming from the right side. Again, what's important here is that it stays very flat. My goal is that wherever I had the arrow faces the same way it was earlier. So I pre-insert a little bit, bladder stays flat, and I'm gonna go to the wingtip and pull it through. So now I'm just gonna pull from here and make sure it inserts the proper way. And I'm already out here, so I'm good. Take the rope out. I keep that insignia, the arrow faces in like we had, and I just fold that. I like to fold here so it goes back inside easier. And my goal is to go get that Velcro inside, exactly line up to that one. And see, I have it lined up properly here. Now I can pull that out. And it's nice. Now I'm taking those hoses off, that one and that one, put them to the side, and I'm gonna insert that side on the other side. So very important, you keep it flat again. So see how I go this way, keep it flat. Make sure there's no twist. You can fold it like that, but don't twist it. It must stay flat. So again, I can see I'm not twisted because my arrow is facing the right way, facing inside. So when it's gonna feed in, it's gonna face towards the center of the wing. And I can connect the rope again. And I like to just help it a little bit, so I pre-insert it. Make sure it stays flat and it feeds properly. And now I'm putting on this side again, making sure it inserts flat. So now making sure my arrow is facing the right way, I'm gonna just close that little pocket again like I did on the other side. So now I'm gonna manually insert this part so the valves are coming out in the right position. the inflate valve. And this one obviously comes out very easily too. Just gotta put it out too. Now I'm gonna put the ring back on. Don't forget to put the cap like that. Make sure it's gonna close the proper way. Just screw that. Do not forget to close the zipper, very important. Make sure that flap is perfectly flat inside, so the zipper is never gonna touch the bladder. Now you push the zipper and you push it all the way. Now we're gonna reconnect the little hoses for the strut connection to the leading edge bladder. Again, I like to just wet it a little bit to insert it. I insert tube first. Now push like that. There you go. And now you're gonna do the same on the other side. So now I'm just gonna shake a little bit everything so the bladder gets in kind of like a good position. So I shake everywhere. And now I'm gonna slowly inflate my leading edge to look for twist. If I can see the bladder, the dacron not getting perfect tension, that means I have a twist inside. And in that case, I'll have to redo the insertion of the leading edge. So I'm gonna inflate slowly and hope that there's no twist. All right, so now I can see clearly I have a twist right here. So that's no good. And I have one right here. So that's no good either. So I'm gonna have to redo the process of taking the leading edge out, putting it back in, and be a little more careful this time that it doesn't twist. So now I took the bladder out, put it back in. It's ready to go, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it for a few hours to make sure it doesn't deflate before I go in the water. All right, now that we learned how to replace the leading edge bladder, let's get to the case where when you had isolated your strut from your leading edge using those clips, you would find out that your strut was actually the one leaking. Then I'm gonna show you how to replace this strut bladder right now. So first thing you do, you take those clips and tubes off like we did earlier. Now you're gonna push those nipples back in. Once the nipples are in, you again, like we did earlier, you're gonna connect this rope here to the nipple. Now you're coming to the back of the strut and you're gonna open this little pocket again, open the Velcro, pull it out, and now you grab the bladder and you slowly pull it, making sure the rope comes. There's your bladder here. Now you can go fix it or replace it, and we're gonna learn how to insert the strut bladder back in. To reinsert your strut bladder, if you got a brand new one or you fix your bladder, the one thing you want to remember is there was two nipples on that one. One is the right side, one's the left side. In our case, we inserted the rope on the right side, so I'm looking here. I can see the way it positioned. That's the bottom of the bladder, so this is the right side. So I connect the bladder here to the right side. Then I want to insert that whole bunch of bladder in before I pull, because I cannot just pull it through. Now I got enough in that I'll be able to pull it. And again, very important that your bladder does not twist, so you get it nice and flat, facing the proper way, so it doesn't twist when you insert it. Now I'm going to pull on the rope here to pull my bladder through, making sure I look in the back over there that it goes in nice and flat until it comes out here at me. Now I can take the rope off, shake it a little bit, push it, make sure it comes in. Be careful that when you pull the nipple out, you don't have any piece of the reinforcement that comes out too. To do the other side, you locate your nipple by feeling it inside where it is, and I pull that one through again. All right, now I'm gonna close the back of the strut. Now I'm just putting the back of the bladder here. Again, I fold it like that, so it's gonna come and fold nicely here inside, and the Velcro lines up with the Velcro inside. Very important now is you want the front of your bladder inside to come all the way to here and all the way here. Very important. If you don't do it this way the first time you inflate it, the bladder is going to pop because it's going to have too much surface without the Dacron holding it. So the best way to do it is to grab your strut and then shake it like that. And there's never too much shaking you can do. All right, so you really go all the way, making sure it goes down. Well, hopefully I got it. Now I can reconnect my hoses. And you know the drill by now. Get it wet and insert. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pump up the wing again, very slowly when the struts start to inflate, to make sure that I don't have any dead surfaces, dead volume here that doesn't have the bladder. And if it does, I'll have to shake more to make sure I position it properly. As my strut's starting to inflate, I go slow. And really I keep an eye around here and around here, down here, making sure it's inflating. So the top looks right. The top looks good here. And the bottom doesn't look perfect. You can see here, I have a little bit of, this is stiff because of the inflation. This is not perfect. So I'm gonna deflate, shake it a little more to make it go in the right position. All right, now it's good. It's all inflated properly. Now we got it right.